Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Freeman Mazda post-game show. Cowboys lose on Thanksgiving for the fourth time in a row. 33-36, Raiders get the victory. This is, once again, the Freeman Mazda post-game show presented by Freeman Mazda. If you're looking for or searching for a new used or Mazda certified pre-owned vehicle in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, shop at Freeman Mazda of Irving, Texas, who have been a family-owned, operated business for over 60 years. They have new inventory arriving daily, and we got to talk about the Mazda CX-5, the 2021. I also drive the Mazda 6, but I'm not really happy to talk about me driving the Mazda 6 today.
I'm sorry. That always makes me laugh. I'm sorry.
So stop by Freeman Mazda in Irving, Texas today, or go to freemanmazda.net for more information. This is a freaking frustrating game here, guys. This is an already ridiculous people. Dak sucked today. Sure, he sucked. 400 yards, gets you down there, gets a game-winning or game-time field goal, game touchdown. You know what? You Dak people are idiots. I'm just going to say you're idiots. You want to find me, A to Z, find me, okay? But that's what you are. You're idiots. But anyway, man, let's get on to this actual football conversation. And where do you want to start with? Do you want to start with Anthony Brown?
I want you to start. I want you to start wherever you feel like you need to start.
I feel like the old AB came out today, and I'm not blaming this on one person because the defense in general stunk. It just flat out stunk. Micah Parsons seemed to be the guy that gave you the most energy, and they weren't holding calls on him. But the defense was terrible today. Bad angles, bad tackling, terrible. I mean, awful third down penalties. Undisciplined on third down all game. 3rd and 18, you have a chance to get a stop, and that happens. So, you know, and again, this will be something I'll be talking about all week with the flags, but on both sides of the ball. I have to say, both sides of the ball, these referees are absolutely terrible. And I'm curious on what the record is in regards to flags for both teams, because it had to be approaching it. Offensively, they found their groove in the second half. They found their groove in the fourth quarter, really. And I know there were some people that wanted to continue to run the ball, and I kept saying this is not a time to have a clock game situation. You run the ball in the fourth quarter down 8 points at that time frame, game's over if you don't convert. That's why you got to throw, because if it's an incomplete pass, you can get the ball back if your defense holds up. But overall, I mean, it's just a very disappointing game after going to Kansas City and losing, and you come out, you start slow. The defense gets embarrassed by a team that didn't have Darren Waller, right? An offense that hadn't scored more than 16 points in the last 3 weeks. You gave up 17, I think, in the first half. So just a very, very disappointing game.
Yeah.
And mind you, this is initial reactions too, by the way. So whatever we're saying here, we didn't get a chance to go back and watch or anything like that. This is straight off the dome.
You know, I said this earlier in the game. The Raiders' offense began to lean on the Cowboys' defense. And all year long, we talked about next man up, next man up, next man up. And what ended up happening is when you have to do rotations, the guys who are playing second-string snaps are really third-stringers. The guys who are playing third-string snaps are really fourth-stringers. And so now these guys are having to play prominent minutes in games against top-level competition. When you have to bring in those backups and you have to create those rotations, you're bringing in less-than type players. I get it, you're on a short week, so was the Las Vegas Raiders. They were on a short week as well. And this is why it was so imperative for you to get out to an early start to this football game and get up in this football game, because when I was saying that it didn't feel like the Cowboys were in control, is that you never made the Raiders get out of their comfort zone.
No, for the second week in a row.
You never made them feel like they had to hurry up. They were okay with punting. You never made Derek Carr feel like he had to force a throw in there where he has done before, and it led to turnovers. They just continued on with the pace at which they thought was comfortable, running the football, passing the football, and that paid dividends late in the game because their time of possession, they had more time of possession than the Cowboys. They were able to lean on them, and you saw it at the end of the game where it was little passes to the tight end or to Renfro or to Jacobs or whatever it may be. And they were able to just methodically move their way down the football field. And this is the type of games the Raiders want to play in. When your team is less than, like if we're just doing kind of comparison, the Raiders aren't a better football team than the Dallas Cowboys. And all they want to do is just be in football games. As long as we have a puncher's chance at the end of the game, I like my situation. This is why the Cowboys have to go out early in these games, jump on teams, and kind of put them at a disadvantage. Because teams like the Raiders that are less than you, all across the board, even when your guys are out, because they were missing Darren Waller. And we said this in the pregame show, that is Derek Carr's first, second, third read sometimes. And when he went out early in the game, Zay Jones is not a world beater. Like Hunter Winfrow's 47 years old.
Yeah, 134 yards.
He ain't fast. He ain't into that. Deshaun Jackson, he 175 years old. So it wasn't like they had their top weapons in there, but even he had 100 yards receiving today.
I'm looking at the big plays here. Hunter Renfrow, 54 yards. Deshaun Jackson, 56 yards. Zay Jones, 35 yards. And Darren Waller, 21 yards. Big play after big play after big play. This defense absolutely stunk today. And the
except
offense,
Micah.
It seems we say that every week,
right?
Well, not every week they stink, but you know what I mean. Like
right.
every week.
Every week it's always everyone else except
Micah. Right. Like
he's in his own class. You know he's good. But all the rest of you.
Yeah, he almost saved the game. I mean, that second down sack to make it 3rd and 18 was massive.
Yep.
And your defense could not hold it together. I wonder if Kelvin Joseph had not been, ejected, would they have made a switch with Anthony Brown? Just because he was giving up entirely too many plays with the penalties, and he had an over route that he got beat on as well. I wonder if that's a decision they would have went with, because he's not that aggressive type of guy in man when you go deep. And we saw it. It was the right call because that's the NFL. You have to turn around, unfortunately. And it was a smart play by Derek Carr, too, by the way. He knew dang going well I wasn't going to get it out. I just underthrow it. It's one of those situations. It's a punt on 3rd down if they pick it. If they don't pick it, it's an incomplete pass. We punt it. But 9 times out of 10, they're going to call a flag. And I just looked it up. 28 penalties today for almost 300 yards.
Wow.
Okay? 28 penalties. I mean, I can't recall another game where the flags flew that much. And mind you, there was some.
It was Tampa. It was 23 against Tampa. It was close to 28.
And mind you, there was calls that they waived.
Right.
So it was over 30 flags were thrown today. That is
wow.
just that should not be allowed to happen in football, but it did. But as for, we asked for Cedric Wilson to step up today. He did 7 receptions, 104 yards. We asked for Noah to step up. He did 6 receptions for 53. And Michael Gallup with some amazing clutch catches at the end of the game with some bucket dot throws from Dak Prescott. Helped them get back and tie the game in this competition here. But, I don't – it's one of these games where how do you judge this team? Because it's not a total team, right? But the game, once again, was in hand. This is now back-to-back weeks where you had an opportunity to win the game when you didn't have all your guys. And I got a feeling, we talked about it before, that 19 could creep, that COVID-19 could creep up again, and you're going to be, down men later in the season. And so far, the last 2 weeks, we haven't seen them overcome it.
And we haven't.
3 out of the was it 3? Yes, 3 out of the last 4 weeks.
Yeah, and the biggest thing is when we talk about postseason, what are you going to do when you have to play teams that are equal to or better than you, and you have some adversity? Because at this point in time of the year, everyone across the National Football League is playing with some sort of deficiency. Now, they may not be down their 2 top guys at receiver, but there are a lot of guys who are down receivers. Again, Derek Carr lost his big play guy.
And he just kept making big plays after big
And he just found new guys to make plays for him. Like I said, Zay Jones stepped up, made plays for him. Deshaun Jackson, who's the Cowboy killer, stepped up and made plays for him. You're going to have to be able to find ways to overcome. We thought getting Tyron Smith back would be a good thing, and you'd be able to run the ball a little bit more efficiently and effectively, or protect even more. And there were some times when you did, and there were some times when you didn't. But when it comes down to is, when will this team, on a consistent basis, make the winning plays? And they do it at times, but there's moments like this where you need the winning play to be made. And I don't want to put it all on Dak's shoulders, but the winning play needed to be made when he rolled out right and threw the ball behind Noah Brown. That was the winning play that needed to be made. right? Or maybe, you can say it was a pass interference or not pass interference, but to make the winning throw, a tighter throw, a dime throw to Dalton Schultz over the middle that would have kept the drive alive and potentially had them go on to score a touchdown. So these you got to make these winning plays.
We can nitpick those because he made the winning play to Dalton Schultz, and we got a bogus holding call. So, every play is magnified in the loss. I guarantee you, if the Raiders lose this game, they're going to go back to the drop to Josh Jacobs or the bad throws that should have been a pick to all those type of. We can nitpick, and then that's what's going to happen. You're going to nitpick in the 30.
This is what happens when you lose, though.
This
is what happens when you lose. You go back and you nitpick, and you look at those things and say, "Man, if you make this play, if you make that play." But the thing is, this has become a recurring theme the last three out of four games. 4 games, yeah. Exclude Atlanta, the last 3 games, and I'm not tooting my own horn, but the last 3 out of 4 games. AFC West, AFC West, AFC West. The last 3 losses that they've had, Denver.
Yeah, for whatever reason, the AFC West is, and they're all different games too. The Denver game, like Dak came out and said, and I believed it too, because I said these guys look like they came out here and said we're going to roll the Cowboys helmet out and win, and that's what he said. The Chiefs game, completely different game in the sense of they didn't come out there rolling out, and we're going to win. They played them tough, good defense, had a chance to win, different type of game. And in this game, a shootout. What we thought last week was going to be, it was this week. So it's so hard. Last week, I'm clapping it up for the defense, right? You go up against that offense, and you think that the next week they could come out and play better, and instead they give up over 500 yards to pretty much a Darren Waller-less offense, and Derek Carr just diced them up 24 for 39, 373 yards. Only 1 touchdown, but it was the big plays that I thought that kept the drives going for the Raiders.
And you said it, 3 different games, 3 different outcomes, 3 different Cowboys teams. And at this point in time of the year, you can't have that kind of confusion. You can't have what are we? Because you were one thing when you lost to Denver. You were another team when you beat Atlanta. You were another team when you lost to Kansas City, and now you're another team tonight. That is the inconsistency that will get you sent home in early January. So we're close to Christmas now. Okay, you should be knowing who the hell you are as a football team, and I get it. This ain't the first time you guys have played without your whoever. You've been missing guys all year long. But you got to have some sort of identity. You have to be able to hang your hat on something, and that something has to be able to win you football games. The Raiders are not a better football team. They're not a better football team. I'm sorry. They aren't. Tonight they were. But you got to have – you have to be more consistent. And the penalties – I tweeted this out earlier. I said with the penalties, when you as a team lead the league in penalties, that haunts you. You don't get the benefit of the doubt when you've been undisciplined all year long. Undisciplined people, teams, don't get the benefit of the doubt when it comes to the referee. When they look at and they say the Cowboys are X, Y, and Z when it comes to penalties, then you look at that and they go, you know what? That is a holding. So the call becomes more easier to make because it's something that all year long you've been undisciplined in those areas. Whether it's an offsides or a holding or whatever it may be, that doesn't bode well for you in games like this. 28 penalties, a lot. That's way too much, and I get it. That the referees had way too much to do just injecting, and I don't make referee excuses.
Well, the easy answer is don't put it in their hands.
That's the easy answer.
That's the easy answer, and the referees didn't give up the 56-yard touchdown pass to was it Deshaun Jackson at the beginning of the game, right? The referees didn't make you miss tackles on the 21-yard run by Josh Jacobs. The referees didn't make you miss a block here, there, things like that. So, again, one of those things where when you're down guys, important guys, there is that pocket of opportunities that you have to take advantage of. And, the Raiders, by hook or crook, that's what I said. I said it today. I said, you got to win this game by hook or crook.
Yeah.
I felt like Derek Carr and those boys knew, we got a crook. We found a crook. Yeah, we're getting calls. They're calling holdings, whatever. But I know if I can just toss it up. It was one of the plays where you said it perfectly. We were kind of talking about it. 3rd and 12 or something. They just threw it deep.
Yep.
Said it doesn't matter. If they pick it, Hooker could have picked it. If
punt.
They don't, it's a punt. It's basically a punt.
Right.
And if he catches it, we catch it, or it's a flag. that's winning by hook or crook.
Yeah.
And the Cowboys couldn't find a way to do that. I felt like they were trying to overcome that stuff when the Raiders were just like, whatever, this is what we do. I don't know what their penalty situation is like, but they were like, whatever. You know what I'm saying? We're playing with house money.
Yep.
Whatever. It's Thanksgiving. We're on the road. We're making big plays, and they played much looser, I think, than the Cowboys did, and it showed. I think the defense just,
they tired. They
definitely got tired out.
They tired out, man. And there were times where Derek Carr had way too much time in the pocket. They were in between this. We're going to play man and send pressure, but we're going to play off sometimes and play zone. And the Raiders kind of just matched them a lot of times and said, all right, when you pressure, we're going to find somebody. When you don't pressure, I'm just going to deliver it to the guys in open space and let them make plays. A ton from Jordan Lewis, from Trayvon Diggs, from Anthony Brown, from Kazee.
They all got work today.
All of these guys taking these horribly bad angles, right? The ball's right in front of you. You're going to where the guy has been. He's already gone. And now you just have this confusion of what to do with your bad tackling, and you just could never get over the hump. You could never get to a place where you were just solid in everything that you were doing.
Yeah, the defense could never get a rhythm of, on their side of the ball.
No, she's good. She's good. She won. I always say, we have a rule here, okay, with A to Z Sports. When you win, you can talk. When you don't win, we don't. So she has every right to gloat and cheer and yell, so we're good. We're good. We're good. Congratulations.
They picked on number 30. I can't wait to see what his grades or whatever is, how many targets he got. Yeah, that's the rule, though, man.
That's the rule.
You win.
When you win, you can gloat, you can talk, you can make noise when you walk by. I gotta be consistent. Unlike the Cowboys, I'm gonna be consistent.
No, they got consistently whipped.
Yeah,
is what they did. And shout out to their kicker too, man. That was a clutch 59-yard, or was it 56-yard field goal at the end. And the reason why I bring up kickers,
must be nice.
Yeah. I mean,
nice
it's so frustrating with Greg Zuerlein because he's 13 for 14 now in the fourth quarter with field goals. But every time he misses a field goal, it seems to be a very important one early in the game.
Yep.
How big is one extra point in that game? One extra point.
One extra point, we win.
And then they make this inexplicable, decision to kick the 59-yarder at the end. Now, it didn't come and bite them in the butt because they didn't score on the end of that half, or they didn't do anything with it at the end of that half or in that game. But it just must be nice to have a kicker that you walk out there and you're not really nervous about. I was nervous as hell when to tie up the game.
Me too.
Nervous. I didn't want it to go to
I promise you were not. My text thread, my Twitter timeline, everybody was nervous when he had to go up there and tie the game up to end it in the overtime.
I'm looking at the defensive stats here. Keanu Neal and Jaron Kearse led the team with 12 and 11 tackles. But I promise you, what my man say? I promise you, boo-boo.
Yeah.
I promise you. None of them things was behind the line of scrimmage. A lot of those tackles were, it looks like two. They got 2 tackles for loss combined. A lot of those 23 tackles were probably 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 yards down the field.
Yeah.
They did not play well today. I thought there was an opportunity for Keanu Neal to get a pick on a tip ball, on an errant throw by, and that's the thing, right? Like, when you win, you don't talk about those errant throws because you won. And when you lose, you have to go back and look at every little opportunity. And when you go back and look at the ground game, they could never get that going. Tony Pollard averaged 3.6 yards per carry. Zeke averaged less than that. I think it was around 2 yards, less than 2.5 yards per carry. And then Dak had that 3-yard run. But this is now 5 or 6 weeks in a row. This team just cannot figure out the ground game.
Let me ask you a question. With the Saints coming up next week, and you kind of got a mini bye now, with, you got Friday, Saturday, Sunday off. Where are you at in the Zeke Elliott situation?
He's clearly
is this a situation where you say, you know what, we're going to sit you for this? Because we've seen the Cowboys all year long play the long game, right? Play the long game, whereas we'll keep guys out a little bit more extended to make sure they were healthy for going down the stretch. It is clear. It is crystal clear that Ezekiel Tyrone Elliott, I don't know if that's his middle name, but it just sounds like Tyrone is the name I'm going with right now. That Ezekiel Tyrone Elliott is not well. And there's a difference from being week 12 hampered and beat up and being actually injured. I think he's actually injured.
Sure.
And what is your take, or where you sit at when you say, I sit Zeke for this next game to give him an extended amount of time to rest and to recover and try to have him finish out the year, the month of December?
I'm going to ask a question. I'm going to answer your question with a question. Has Ezekiel Bartholomew Elliott
I'm sorry, Mama D, if we're messing up your son's name. I know you named him something right. I'm sorry.
Are you going to miss him if he sits down?
Are we going to miss him if he sits down?
Next week. I'll say no. He has not been an impact player over the last month of the season due to that knee.
Right.
That's not a knock on him as a player. He is gutting this thing out. He is a warrior. There's no doubt about it. But it is clear as day that Zeke does not have the burst. He doesn't have the quickness. He doesn't have the agility. All he can do for you is get the ball, put his head down, and ram it. And that's a liability now.
Right.
Because now, you know what's funny? If I was a team, I wouldn't even fear Zeke right now. There's nothing to fear. There's nothing to gain. I'm going to put 8 and 9 a minute. Why?
Right.
Why? Only person you should do that for at this moment is Tony Pollard.
Yeah.
Because Tony Pollard gives you that ability to, that juice and that big play ability that we saw today that got called back, but at any given moment he can hit it. But the game script didn't work in their favor in that second half. When they went up, I think it was 20, I forget what it was. They were down, I think 12 or something like that. The game script wasn't working, but Dak went down, scored a touchdown. Tony Pollard, matter of fact, scored a 100-yard kickoff.
Yeah.
You know, I think, and again, and Tony Pollard, 10 carries a day, so and then 4 catches, 14 touches. I need a little more.
You said 15.
I said 15.
You said 15 apiece.
Looks like we're going to need a little more. Looks like we're going to need a little more. And it wasn't like it was TP getting involved in the passing game out the slot, right? It was a lot of kind of quick dump offs. Same thing with Zeke. Zeke caught, I think, he caught 6 catches today. And a lot of it was quick dump offs.
Yeah. And even he had 6 for 24, right? And that's not really in one of his plays was 12 yards. So basically he had 5 catches for 12 yards.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? So it wasn't like he was getting much in the passing game. So to answer your question with the question, will we miss Zeke if we sit him? At this point in time, no.
No.
Because he doesn't have that impact. I think we miss him in the passing game. And if we're looking ahead and what the Saints do well, like they get after passer well, right? They got a good front with Jordan and those guys, Cam Jordan and those guys up front. So can Tony Pollard carry the load? Can he play 60 snaps? Can he run the ball or touch the ball 25 times? Whether that's be 10 rushing and 15 passing or whatever it may be, can he do those things? You got it. You got it, sweetheart. You got it. Good job. Congratulations. You guys got it.
I think I don't know. I mean, Tony Pollard. I haven't watched the tape like every game of his past.
Right.
I've seen him pick up some good blitzes this year. I've seen him miss. Same thing about Zeke. I've seen Zeke miss a little bit, but we know Zeke consistently can be that guy. But I'll say this: I'll take the chance on it.
Yeah.
I'll take the chance. If you told me, hey, if I rest Zeke for a couple games, you may have a little bit of issues in regards to that pass blocking from at the running back position, but Zeke will benefit health-wise later in the year, I take that chance because he's just not impactful at all.
You made a comment earlier today. Do you rest Zeke? Go sign Lindsey?
It's too late. He got picked up.
Oh, did he get picked up? Oh, I was going to say, okay. I was like, do you pick up Lindsey in that time frame? Maybe sit Zeke a game or so, and then when he comes back, you either put him on the practice squad or release him?
I would have.
Okay.
Here's the thing. Corey Clement is not, over the last 3 years, hasn't been a running back. The last time he's been a guy that's played a lot of snaps at running back position was the Super Bowl, I think, year or the year after the Eagles won the Super Bowl. Mm-hmm. But he was a third down guy. He was a guy they brought in on third down to pick up blitzes and leak out and get receptions. Maybe you do that. Yeah. Maybe you decide, okay, if I know I need this extra protection on a 3rd and 12 or something like that, I'll put Corey Clement in, if that's how you say his last name. But other than that, I think the best thing for him is rest.
Yeah, I agree with you 100%. I mean, we as a former player, I know the warrior mentality that those guys go out there with. I mean, I've played with broken bones, ribs, thumbs. I've played with meniscus tears and ACL. I mean, I've done it. I've played with it all, and I get it and I understand it. And I know Zeke is saying, I want to be. He's a leader of this team. I want to be out there for my team. I want to help my football team.
Yeah.
But at times, when you can't be close to 100% of yourself, then you're absolutely right. You become more of a liability than an asset to this football team. Because at the end of the day, just you being out there, there's this thought, this hope that, hey, Zeke's going to finally break one. And you just don't have it. And it's no knock against Zeke. Like, you're hurt.
He's hurt.
It's not like you don't have it because you're fat or you don't have it because you're
lazy
old or you're lazy. And that's the thing is that you have to just sometimes say, you know what? Dog, you hurt. You remember Ed Reed in the locker room, in his Miami days, and he asked him, like, hey, you all right? He's like, no, dog, I'm hurt. I'm hurt. Like, Zeke's hurt. Like, he's just flat out hurt. And I think at this time, he is more of a liability than he is an asset for this football team.
No, I totally agree. But at the end of the day, Zeke or no Zeke, Kellen Moore and this offensive line and whomever, Mike McCarthy, they have to figure out how to get the running game back going. Because here's the thing. The Cowboys are best when they're balanced. Not, we're going to run it 40, 50 times, or we're going to throw it 40, 50 times. Balanced. They were the most balanced and most efficiently balanced team in the NFL when they went on that 6-game winning streak. They haven't been that in the last month of the season. I mean, clearly they're 1-3 since they've been unbalanced. And even in that Falcons game, they didn't need to do much in that game. That was just a bad team, caught at a bad time, and they whooped on them. But with that said, if the Cowboys can't find, and now this is now a real problem, right? It's a real problem. You could use the excuse, well, Tyron Smith hasn't been there. He was playing today. Tyron Smith was playing today, and you could not find that balance efficiently. And balance doesn't mean I'm going to run the ball 45 times at 3.2 yards per clip. That's not balance. That's not efficient. You have to find a way to become efficient again. 32 for 47, that's not balance. You threw the ball 27 more times than you ran the ball today, and it probably was because you couldn't get nothing going in the ground.
And the crazy part about it is if they threw the ball almost 50 times and they didn't have their two biggest weapons. Like, that's the crazy part about it. But at the end of the day, the heart of who this team is, they're a passing offense. They are a passing offense. Kellen Moore, at the core of who he is a passing offensive coordinator. And I truly just do believe, and I'm with you when you talk about balance and having balance. But at the core of who Kellen Moore is, he wants to get in shotgun. He wants to go 11 personnel. And he wants to sling that thing all over the yard, and it doesn't matter.
Team that way.
Right.
When you draft CeeDee Lamb, when you sign your Cooper to $20 million, and you got Michael Gallup, your team is built to throw the rock. But that's why I always argue balance. Like, you can be balanced, efficiently balanced, and throw the ball 32 times and run the ball 22 times. Right? Like, that's if it's efficient running the ball. But if you cannot get positive momentum from the ground game, I don't care if you run the ball 40 times, Jesse. That's not efficient, balanced offense. And Kellen Moore just goes right back. Okay, it's not working. We'll go back to what I think will work. But I'm not mad at him. It's not that I'm mad at him. That wasn't working.
I think we need to go back and look at when they were on that 6-game winning streak. When you talk about the balance, how many of those games did they come out and were on top? And they were up 7, 10, 14 points in those football games. And that's some of the beef that people have with being a Cowboy fan and cheering for this team, because they sometimes say this team is a front runner. Is that when they're up, everything is working well, but when they're down, it seems to be they kind of get a little bit off kilter a little bit.
They can't shake that moniker because it keeps happening.
And in the last 4 games, you've seen a lot of it. So I do want to. I'm going to go back and look at when they were on that 6-game winning streak. How did they start? Were they up early in that football game? Because if you can do that, then it's easy to be balanced, right?
Script stays in your favor.
It stays in your favor. That team is now pressing. They become one-dimensional, now you can.
It's very similar to the Raiders today. The Raiders historically, not historically, but this year, have not been a running team. We talked about it in the middle of in the pregame show. They run the ball the 4th least. But the game script stayed in their favor all game, and they ran the ball 35 times in this game, with Mariota getting a touchdown and then Jacobs getting that touchdown after the pass interference play.
I want to reiterate something that I said earlier in this week, and it led into this game, but I think it needs to be said again. We don't have any more AFC West opponents that we have to face for the rest of the year.
3 of their 4 losses.
But when Vic Fangio came out and he said, teams aren't playing the Cowboys the right way, and then everybody made it the moniker of they have the blueprint. And the thing I understood with Vic, it hit me like Monday afternoon, and I understood what Vic was saying. Vic was saying, hey, here in the AFC West, because every team, depending on the division that you're in, you build your team according to the division that you're in. So I'm going to build my team in the NFC East according to the division that I'm in. I'm going to build my team in the AFC West according to the division I'm in, because if you win your division, you find yourself in the playoff. That's the first check mark of the season. Hey, win our division. Then get a better playoff seed, then go into the playoffs, then try to win the Super Bowl. Well, the Denver Broncos have to play, which to me is the standard of offense in the National Football League, which is the Kansas City Chiefs. They have been the standard of offense and the standard of kind of what you want to see in the National Football League. So they have built their team to stop the Kansas City Chiefs, who they play twice a year. Well, also in that division is the Chargers. Also in that division is the Raiders. And so they too are building their team very similar to the other teams in that division to beat the Chiefs. And you saw the outcome of every single game against an AFC West team this year. The Cowboys have struggled.
All different ones, though.
And the AFC team and the Patriots, where they kind of had some trouble in there and had to go into the overtime in there. I know they're going to say that he had a bunch of passing yards against Bill Belichick.
I'm just going to say that some of these games are just they're tight NFL games.
Well, it's how they play defensively. The Raiders did the same thing that the Chiefs did, that the same thing that Denver did, that the same thing that the Patriots did.
The Patriots did not have success.
They want to play man-to-man. They want to be aggressive at the line of scrimmage, be in your face, and then try to use the rest of the guys to get to the passer. Now, they didn't have success because whatever it may be, and their quarterback didn't play well for them like he's playing well for them now. But the rest of these teams want to get up in your face and get physical and make you have to win one-on-one matchups while we're getting after the quarterback. And the Cowboys, while they're built like the Chiefs, they don't have the speed like the Chiefs. And today, they were without weapons last week. They were out,
we got to put an asterisk on a lot of this stuff. One. And number two, it's hard to argue with you. If you just left it at, hey, the AFC West got it figured out, we're 1-3 against them, sure. But when you go and you look at each of those games, there's definitely context that needs to be stated.
But they were going to play them no matter what. Until you got me out of that, they were playing when they had CeeDee Lamb last week. They were playing them man to man.
No doubt about it. I mean, last week that game they got overwhelmed. They got out physical at the line of scrimmage. CeeDee Lamb couldn't get off. Dak couldn't hit.
It's the same thing that Denver did.
What did they do? What did Oakland do today then?
They got in the face of the Cowboys receivers.
And they lost that battle big time, brother. He threw for 400 yards today.
He threw for 200 of them in one quarter. When they were playing more prevent defense, they were playing.
How you going prevent down 8?
They were who?
You don't play prevent down 8.
They weren't down 8.
Yes, they were.
The Raiders?
Yeah, no. The Cowboys were down 8.
I'm talking about the Raiders.
Yes. How do you play prevent up 8?
They were playing more off coverage, not taking the chance to get beat. They played softer coverage when Dak was going on that run.
I'm not going to. You could be right, so I'm not going to sit here and I haven't seen the tape yet.
Okay.
I haven't seen the tape yet. I think all 3 of those games.
And maybe prevent wasn't the right answer. They played more off coverage than they did in the second half than they did in the first half.
All 3 of those games have caveats to it. I am still of the belief, if you do have CD and Amari Cooper, I beg of you to play the man coverage like that. I beg of you. They only had that in one game, and their offensive line got trashed. So, again, I made a joke about it, but it actually kind of is true. The blueprint is your offensive line compromised and are your receivers compromised? That is now the blueprint. And what did they come into the game as? Compromise on the outside. I don't know if that was the game plan. I have to go back and watch. But
so this team has to be perfect. They have to have all their weapons to be successful?
Against good teams. Now, this isn't a good team, but against good teams, I feel like if they're down Coop if they're down Amari Cooper and Lamb in the playoffs, forget about it. I can't see this team winning no Super Bowl. Absolutely not. Absolutely
What if they
not.
down one?
They should be able to get it done with one.
Okay.
They should be able to get it. I mean, I would hope. They won 6 games without what's his name? Michael Gallup. They won 6 games without Michael Gallup, but they were efficiently balanced. Somebody somewhere lost their way.
But they didn't have an offensive line. Tyron was out. Lyle Collins were out. I mean, so like,
right.
And that's the part where I'm a little bit hesitant with cutting them some bail on that, because I seen you win games without Lyle Collins. Hell, Lyle Collins didn't play today.
Didn't play today.
You know what I'm saying? So I've seen you win games without him. I've seen you win games without Tyron before. I've seen you win games without having Zach Markin at times. So I've seen you do it without having all of these pieces together. And that's, if I have one kind of argument with Cowboy fans and Cowboy Nation, is it's always seemed like they have to be 100% all the time to go out there.
And that's what's wild, is that they haven't been. They were 6-1.
That's the National Football League, right? We can go.
What I'm
the
saying,
offensive line of the Oakland Raiders.
No, what I'm saying
they don't have their whole offensive line.
What I'm saying is they were 6-1 and not whole. So that's not an excuse.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
right.
They were 6-1 and not whole. And even when you're not whole, we talk about those pockets of opportunities. They haven't converted on those.
There were chances for the Cowboys to win today.
Oh my!
There were multiple chances for the Cowboys to win today.
Multiple,
and they didn't.
No, I mean that's the bottom line. But again, this is the initial reaction.
Right.
Trying to figure out this and figure out that. But I tell you what, I think it comes down to this: if the Dallas Cowboys cannot find balance, y'all can forget about trying to have a Super Bowl run. Forget about it. I don't think they're. I get that they're built with the weapons and things like that, but I don't know how many teams can be like, yeah, we're going to throw the ball 50 times a game, and that's how we're going to win the Super Bowl. So if you can't figure out how to get the ground game back on track, you had Tyron Smith today. There's no excuse. There's no excuse. That was a rushing defense that gave up 149 yards 2 weeks ago, 139 yards, 30-something yards last week to Joe Mixon.
Yeah.
And you couldn't find the ground game today? Kellen Moore needs to go back into the mirror and visit himself. Mike McCarthy needs to go back into the mirror and visit himself. Was Joe Philbin that big of a loss today? I don't know.
Possibly. It could be. I mean, maybe. Not having that guy in there to kind of – because sometimes you need that guy at the table to say, hey, to get on the headset and say, hey, guys, how about we run the football here? Or to walk up to Kellen Moore or Mike McCarthy at halftime and say, I got these guys straight. Let's go. Let's run the football. Let's get my guys going. And so not having Joe Philbin here today, that probably affected the team as well. I don't know. I wasn't on the sideline.
Right.
But it helps you out some when you're able to have a guy at the table fighting for your position.
And I tell you this, it seemed like it kind of was a running theme where there was really no creativity in the run game. We talked about be boring. I didn't literally mean line up in the shotgun, hand the ball, and hey, Zeke, just run and ram your head. I didn't literally mean that. I mean, you know what I'm saying? Like you gotta figure something out, because at the end of the day, this is a bottom line business. And bottom line, 3 of the last 4 weeks, you haven't gotten it done, and you haven't gotten it done on the ground. And we're gonna harken back to it. If they're not balanced, man, I don't know how this team is going to be successful long term.
And what happened to the opportunistic defense?
Yeah, I know. We've definitely been harping on the offense lately. Defense was.
What happened to the defense who turned the ball over? What happened to that defense who were making these big splash plays and getting the ball back to the offense? Like, what happened to that? Like, we haven't seen, like, them taking. Yeah. And we always would harp on this.
Take the ball away.
Take the ball away. Not turnovers, takeaways. We haven't seen this defense get takeaways like they were on that 6-game win streak when they were taking the ball away. So they're culpable in this mess as well, because you set a standard earlier in the year where you were taking the football away. I know you had an interception last game. That wasn't a takeaway. That was a turnover. Like, Kelsey dropped the ball and it fell in your lap. But you were being an opportunistic defense for a large majority of the year. Where is that? Where are those guys at?
They had an opportunity today. Terrell Basham got the sack fumble, and the ball was rolling around, but the Raiders recovered it. I mean, these are little things that you don't think about in a long game since it's over. But if you get that ball, you get the ball back at the 45-yard line or something like that, with an opportunity to get points. But yeah, the defense, realistically, you couldn't expect them to keep getting 2 turnovers a game. but I also don't expect you to give up 500 yards to their best weapon being out in the game.
To a 500 team. Like they're a 500 team. Like, and you give up 500 total yards.
500 total yards.
Like that is
Derek Carr. Derek Carr had some good plays under pressure too, escaping some pressure and things like that. Some holding. A lot of hold. In fact, they called a lot of holdings on him too. But there was opportunities for this defense. In position, get your head around, right? Make a tackle. It seemed like today they thought they were going to roll. I'm going to roll my helmets out and we're going to beat this average offense. But I think you talked about it. It might have been someone else that said Derek Carr, he looked like an MVP in the beginning of the season. And if you didn't get to him, he could do that to you. And about 95% of those plays, they didn't get to him, the big plays. And what happened? 56-yarder, 50-something yarder. 35-yarder, 21-yarder. He just converted on the big plays, man.
Yeah, they got almost 200 yards just in big plays. Like in big chunk plays. 50-yarder, 56-yarder, 35-yarder, 21-yarder. Those are all, anything 20-plus yards is a splash play, an explosive play that you don't want to give up as a defense. And they had 4 of those today, and then they had a 17-yarder to Jacob. So, I mean, they were getting those explosive plays. They were giving themselves opportunity after opportunity. And like I said at halftime, this is the kind of team you don't want to keep around. This is when you go into the NCAA tournament and you give Loyola Marymount an opportunity to stay in the game. Now they start hitting shots late in the fourth quarter. This is when you got to go play Weber State, when you got to go play Lehigh. And when you're a better football team than them, but when you let them hang around, when you keep giving them opportunities and opportunities and opportunities, and you don't put them away, and you don't start moving the momentum to your side, these are the type of things that are happening because a play here, a play there, a not play here, a not play here made by you, and now all of a sudden you're looking at an overtime loss to a team that was 5-5 coming into this game.
And I think one of the things that is a very small but big underlining problem in this game is the Cowboys were 3 for 13 on third down. You want to talk about winning the time of possession, you got to convert on third downs, and they didn't 10 times. So that means they either punted or went for it on fourth, and it looks like they didn't go for it at all on fourth down. So you punted the ball 10 times. You're the number 1 offense in the league. Going up against an average defense in the sense of overall, but I thought their secondary was a better secondary than they showed today. But you can't be 3 for 13 in a game unless you're going to have big plays like the Raiders did. The Raiders were 3 for 13 too.
Yeah.
But guess what? They popped you with about 5 or 6 major, massive plays that resulted in either a touchdown or a field goal. So here we stand, man. Cowboys 7-4. It is. I hate to use the term panic, but it is definitely time to be concerned about this team moving forward. They have the Saints next week. You'll likely get Mari Cooper and CD Lamb back. You need a resounding response next week.
And on the road.
Oh, and D-Law too will be back as well.
So you go to, and at this point in time, like you try to say, well, okay, they got Trevor Siemian who's going to play quarterback, and so
no Kamara, no Ingram. So there's no excuses next week.
Right.
You know what I mean?
But like you go on. I would love to say that, right? We were able to say that 6 weeks ago, but now we're saying, is this team going to go down there and win? You have the question marks are now there. You're starting to see, will this team show up?
You cannot mark. I don't give a dang if they bring back Dion and Leon and Nate Newton and Leon. I don't give a dang because they've proven 3 of the last 4 weeks that you can't give them the benefit of the doubt anymore.
Right.
At 6-1, you can maybe say, you know what? We've seen them win without Lyle. We've seen them win without Michael Gallup. We've seen them win with Randy and D-Laws. Not anymore. Right. There's no benefit of the doubt. You could absolutely go down there and lose to an undermanned team because you've done it.
Right.
You've done it. So that's why I said next week has to be a resounding bounce-back game. I don't even know if it's going to tell you much about the Cowboys, but it doesn't matter. At this point, it's about stacking these W's on top of each other and getting in a rhythm and finding yourself right now. I don't think this offense knows who it is anymore in the last 4 weeks. I don't.
No, and that was very clear. When they start doing that shuffling offensive line.
What the hell was that?
That is so un-NFL-ish.
It's unnecessary.
Like, I've never seen offensive, like, due to injury, yes. But just because early in a football game, that tells me that you are searching. Like, you like this. you like, where? I'm trying to find something. And that's a bad place to be on your offensive line when you need continuity in your offensive line this late in the football season. Yeah. Find your best 5 and let's go play football.
Yeah, if the 5 they ultimately went with in the second half was Terrence Steele, Zach Martin, Biotish, McGovern, and Tyron Smith. I thought the line was pretty solid today. I mean, obviously we'll go back and we'll see. There was some moments where Max Crosby got pushed into the lap of Dak Prescott.
And you said that would happen.
That would happen. It's Max Crosby, but overall he didn't wreck your game.
Right.
You know what I mean? So I'm actually proud of the offensive line and the way they played. I don't know about the run game. I have to go back again and watch. But damn it, if I'm those guys, I go into the room and say, what do you need us to do? What do we have to do to show you that we need to run the ball? What do we have to do? And if it's because they're not being productive in run blocking, then that's on them, right? Then they have to look in the mirror and say, we got to get it together. But initially, I haven't watched the tape, obviously, the run back. They couldn't get much going on the ground today. And if that's the case, man, moving forward, the Cowboys are in trouble. They're in trouble. You just – I don't see how you win games in the playoffs throwing the ball 50 times a game.
Not against a team that you don't have to face in the playoffs, because you're going to be facing the Rams, you're going to be facing the Bucs, you're going to be facing Green Bay, you're going to be facing Arizona. So you're going to have to be able to establish some run game. You're going to have to be able to.
Won. Great
Congratulations,
game.
Brother. Congrats. You won. You get to celebrate. Have a beer.
That was the best celebration I think I've seen.
Yeah. He just walked up, was like.
Walked away.
But, yeah, next week the Cowboys, they have to
bounce back.
They have to bounce back.
I mean, the panic for me has not set in yet, because I understand that due to certain circumstances you are where you are. But if you get these guys back and you lose to them without their guys, that's a problem. And that is a major problem, because you're going to play the upper echelon teams, right, in the playoffs with probably your guys barring any unforeseen setbacks. And if you can't beat undermanned people on the road, it's looking like you're going to be on the road, Jesse.
Yep.
It's looking – you might get one home game. Hopefully, the Eagles are just chilling in the back.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, they 5-6, is it?
Yeah.
5-6. You got a 2.
They like COVID. They just sitting in the.
They just sitting back
they
there.
waiting for you to. They wait for you to slip up.
I'm still very confident to win the division, but I'm just saying, you're giving them every reason to say, "Oh, we still win this thing." What did you talk about?
Right.
You keeping Loyola Marymount in the game.
Right.
Keeping them in it. So they gotta bounce back next week. I'm not going to sit here and talk about I expect, I think they're going to win or anything like that just yet. They need to win.
They must. Talk about a must win. And one thing I want this team to do, which is kind of good, is that they have a mini bye. And sometimes.
They play on Thursday.
Oh, that's right. It's right, Thursday.
It's not a mini bye till after.
So after, that's right. You're right. So what they need to do is. This needs to be
they get a normal week at least.
They get a normal week. What this needs to be is this needs to be a man in the mirror type situation. Like each one of these guys on every phase of the game, coaches as well. You got to go into the mirror and you got to say, who am I? Yeah. What am I? What are we going to be? How can I do my job better?
Yeah.
How can I help my unit become better? Right? And really, 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 really take a look at what am I doing right? What am I doing wrong? And how can I help my unit out? Because something is off. Something is off in this football team. The offense looked a little bit off early on. They picked it up late in the second half, but something is off.
Everywhere is just you got the offense that's kind of up and down. You got the special teams, right? Penalties that happened last week in the game, missed field goals with Greg Zuerlein. You got the defense. Jekyll and Hyde. 1 week they're playing the best offense you would think in the league and playing well. The next week they're playing an underman offense and give up 500 yards. This team is no longer playing complimentary football, and it's showing.
No, I think that's complimentary football. They're not doing that. That is a perfect estimation of the Dallas Cowboys right now. And that's the worst place that you want to be. Like, you don't want to – and it's so late in the year. Like these are issues that you want to have in September and early October, and you want to have them ironed out by late November, early December.
Bill Parcells, I think, said it. You know about your football team after Thanksgiving, right?
Yep.
We about to find out. We're about to find out what this Dallas Cowboys football team is moving forward.
And and you think, they're undermanned in New Orleans next week. You're going to get great effort because they're playing the Dallas Cowboys.
They're at home. It's prime time.
They're at home. It's prime time. And this is, not into the whole. It might have a little bit of rivalry into it. Like there's something about
Sean Payton. You know he want to beat Dallas
all the time.
Come on, man.
He's gonna have a heightened sense of awareness about how can we do things. Where can we make some hay at? New Orleans wants to beat the Cowboys. Make no bones about it. And I don't want to call it a rivalry because you don't play them every single year.
Right.
But there's something there. There's a little bit of we still close enough, and you guys are a team that we look at. Sean Payton wants to be a part of winning that football game. You chose Jason Garrett over me, over me.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So when you come down to New Orleans, we want to make sure we send you back packing with a nice little king cake. A nice little, what is the little powdered sugar on it? What they call them?
The funnel cake?
No, it is not funnel cake. They call it something else.
Down in New Orleans?
Yeah.
Oh, I have no idea.
Yeah, whatever the little cake is, y'all know what it is. They'll say it up in the chat line with the little powder on top of it.
Well, they need to bounce back, and we'll see, man. But that's it for this halftime show. Halftime show. My head's all spinning.
I wish it was still halftime.
Yeah, I wish it was post-game show. Freeman Mazza post-game show. Cowboys lose 33-36, and I must say, salute to the Raider fans. They've been respectful.
They've been respectful.
They've been respectful.
They have.
I thought it was going to get crazy here.
I was gearing up for a little bit crazy, but they've been the Raiders fans.
I'm going to tell y'all what he told me.
They know. Pray with me, don't play with me now.
Oh man, you 60% saved, 40%
I'm 85% saved, but
15% ratchet.
I'm still 15%. God ain't quite got to me yet.
Oh, man. All right, man. For Jesse
Holley,
Holley of Skywalker Still, A to Z Sports Game Day Live. We will see you guys next Thursday in the pregame show. Make sure y'all tune